Hey folks, welcome to my painting diary for the end of January. I'm probably going to do this more regularly as I get through quite a lot of miniatures, and if I do them once a month it'd be a very long video. So what I'm going to show you is some of the stuff I've been working on this week, and it's slightly a misnomer as some of this was started on last week but finished this week, and I'll talk a little bit about the miniatures themselves, that sort of thing. So this is all I've done for the last week or so. So let's get started. So first of all, this Minotaur over here, this is what I painted this week. These other guys, these three over here, I've actually painted them before. But I put them out there just to show you how they tie together. You might have seen in my last video, I've finished this bad boy. So I've done his base and sort of put him with the rest of the units. So he's a giant Minotaur Lord. Or Demon Minotaur Lord. He comes from, is it WizKids? I can't remember. It's one of those really weird bendy plastic miniatures. It's not a great miniature, but I got a massive infatuation with Minotaurs. He's huge. I mean, you can see the scale between him and these Minotaurs. These ones are from Mies Miniatures, but they've been converted. I've given them the Games Workshop Minotaur axes, so just to give them bigger axes. This is obviously the banner bearer, as you can see over here. So this Minotaur unit, as much as I like painting Minotaurs and having a Minotaur army, I'm doing a Greek themed army. So you can see the Greek style mosaic bases, and they're going to have largely majority Minotaurs. And then there'll be a few other bits and pieces like Centaurs and Beastmen, that sort of thing, to round out that army. But that's a slow burn progress. That's a slow burn army. I'm not in a hurry. It was just, I had this guy in the drawer, and when I was going through some stuff over December and January, I was like, okay, I'm going to finish this off, especially as I've now finished him. And I've got a few more Minotaurs, which I'll come back to. But there you go. So that was one of the things I finished. And I quite like the banner. I made it like a really patched look. So it's just sort of thrown together. These little bits over here, this is the start of one of the commissions I'm doing. This is for a board game called Blood Rage. Now, these are just, there was a recently, well, I say recently, it was about a year or two ago. It was a Kickstarter for a digital edition of Blood Rage. And then the company Simon added some alternate miniatures and things to it. So this customer has given me the whole entire game, plus all the extra miniatures and stuff. So I thought I'd start, yeah. These little houses at the back there, these are the pillage tokens. So before they were just a little explosion marker, now you got these cool little sort of Viking style houses. They go onto the sections of the board that get blown up. These are the saga tokens and so on. Nice little pieces. I quite like this. I just started with these quickly. A little crow, and then these are one of the first monsters that I started working on. This is the sea monster. Okay, so there'll be more stuff for that coming in the future. That's the first beginnings of that commission. I'm then working on, just to show you, this is the next monster in the list. It's going to be a big demon ogre, fire demon ogre, something like that. So that's the next part of that commission. And then over here, we got some female ogres. These are called Tough Bellies. They're 3D printed models, and they were okay. I mean, the thing of these is, like, as you can see, they got these huge hammers in their hands, which made ranking them up really, really tough. I didn't really have any particular color scheme in mind. I kind of had a look at the Ogre Kingdoms stuff from Games Workshop, and just kind of went with that sort of theme of like ogres raiding areas and then just strapping on bits of armor. You can see like they just got plates and pieces of wood attached to the armor. So that's kind of what I went with. Again, the thatched together, stitched together clothing, furs, wraps, all sorts of stuff. That's kind of where it went with. And this one is the unit leader. So I went with a red and gold armor on her to stand out. And tied them in together with these blue spirals on their gut plates, etc. Alright. I mean, I'm not a massive Ogre fan, so it didn't really do anything for me personally. So I wouldn't go rush out and get them myself, but I know Ogre Kingdom players would love some female Ogres. These are some Hobgoblin characters. Again, same part of the same commission, 3D printed models. Got one with 2 hand axes and one with an axe and shield. I also did a unit of Hobgoblin archers the previous week. So I could possibly put a picture up here, or maybe at the end of the video if you wanted to see what they look like. Alright, Hobgoblins, nothing much to say about them. Again, these were 3D printed, and I think if you're, a Goblin fan, you probably like these. These were a little more interesting. These are Yetis, also 3D printed. It's also a commission. I quite like these actually. I don't need Yetis, but I don't know, there was just something about these that I quite enjoyed painting. They were really simple to paint as well. Went really quickly. I had an idea, a color scheme in mind, and I just quickly stuck them together and I enjoyed painting them. Very simple. There we go. So some Yetis. I don't know. The thing is, a lot of times there's a lot of models and games and different things you can use. Sometimes you don't always have a place for them in an army, but they're really cool models. So anyway, over here, these you might have seen in a previous video. These were 3D printed for me, and they go into my African themed army that I call the Shoshani. So if I'm ever going to play the fantasy, like a fantasy version of them, this would go really nicely as their monster unit. Giant Kong style apes, gorillas. They are from Titanforge, these 3D prints, and I think they're quite nice. I find that they've got more of an Aztec-y look, because obviously with all the gold plates and stuff like that, but I don't think it matters too much. I mean, the gorillas, aren't they? Normally gorillas are generally like black and grey and that sort of thing, but I added a brown one because it's fantasy and why not. But that'll go into my army. I'm pretty happy with those. And then over here, these are some Persian halflings. At least that's what I call them. They are sort of Arabian style halflings. This is from TT Combat, and they have a whole range of these. So these are the archers. I also did last week, I did some spears and some swords, which again I'll put pictures up at the end. So those were things I did for the previous couple of weeks, but I quite like them. Like different, interesting, I don't know, there's just something about, like, they're completely different themed. I mean, having halflings, you generally think of halflings like the hobbits from Lord of the Rings, or sort of medieval style, but this is completely different. And obviously I've got already a halfling army which is sort of Viking shield maiden style, and these are sort of Tales of Arabian Nights. I really like that. They got some interesting bits as well, like at the moment I'm working on I'll give you a quick sneak peek. These are what they call the veterans. So little Persian halflings with great weapons, and of course you'll see the ones with shields and spears. And then there are a few characters as well. We've got some viziers. Look at that, that's pretty cool. One's on flying carpets, etc. So really cool. And that is pretty much everything I've done this week. So what have we got here? We've got 20 halflings, we've got 3 Kong apes, we've got 3 Yetis, 4 ogre tough bellies, 2 hobgoblin characters. There's little bits and pieces in the back there with that sea monster, and then one of those Minotaurs. And if you want to have a look at some of the others, I quite like these Minotaurs. These are some of my favorite Minotaurs from Mies Miniatures. this is the one that caught my eye the first when I really like this sort of brute style, hulking, fearsome looking, but not over the top. I see the Games Workshop ones are slightly too over muscular for my taste, whereas these ones are really nice. That's not to say I don't have the Games Workshop ones. I have a lot of Minotaurs, and there will be more coming in the future as I build slowly on that. Alright, so that's everything I've done this week. I've got some more stuff coming next week, which will be some more halflings, some halflings for that army over there, which will be going back soon. Some more bits and pieces for Blood Rage with the Fire Demon Lord. And then I'm also going to be doing some stuff for myself, which is my new project, the Third Crusade with King Richard the Lionheart and his Crusaders and Templars. So see you next week for some more of that.